Let's look at some examples of powers with negative exponents. So before we start example 1, I want to try a few examples here with us now. Number 1. So let's look at 3 to the power of negative 3. So according to our rule, 3 to the power of negative 3 should be written as 1 over the reciprocal, remember. Then we take our base, it stays the same, and our exponent goes positive. So this is rewritten with a positive exponent. If we want to evaluate or work that out, well, we're going to leave 1 over, and then we're going to go 3 to the power of 3 is 27. So let's look at this, how the second rule works. So if I do 1 over 3 to the negative 3, so I've taken question 1 and I've written the reciprocal of it. I've flipped it upside down. So according to our rule number 2, if I have 1 in the numerator and 3 to the power of negative 3, I can rewrite that as no fraction. So I'm flipping that back over. 3 over 1, which is 3. I rewrite my exponent. It goes from negative to positive. So 3 to the power of 3, and I can evaluate that. That's 27. So when I compare these two questions, I have one question evaluated. I've taken the reciprocal of the question and I evaluated it, and I get the reciprocal of the answer. So just have a look at how those two questions compare. All right, let's do question number 3. What if I have a fraction in there? So what if I have 1 over 2 to the power of negative 2? Well, the rule says take the base, find the reciprocal of the base. So the reciprocal of the base is 2 over 1, and make my exponent positive. Remember, 2 over 1 is just 2, and 2 squared evaluated is 4. We can also have negative bases in there, so let's take a look at what happens if I have negative 1/2 to the power of negative 2. Well, the rule says take the reciprocal of the base. So the reciprocal of negative 1/2 is negative 2 over 1. Take the reciprocal, then make the exponent positive. So negative 2 over 1 is the same as negative 2. I'm going to square that. Negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 is positive 4. Let's look at one last example. And in our last example, I want to do what if I have a negative and then 1 over 2 to the negative 3. This negative now is not part of my base, so I'm going to hold on to that negative out front, and I'm going to look at this as this is a separate question. So 1 over 2 to the negative 3, once the negative is in the base, I take the reciprocal of 1 over 2, which is 2. I make my exponent positive. This negative is still in the front, so I'll have a negative, evaluate 2 to the power of 3, that's negative 8. Let's go look at our next example.